Good morning. At this time, I would like to invite up our incense lighters. And on page 2 of your booklet, we will be chanting the incense lighting gatha together. And together we say, in gratitude, we offer this incense throughout space and time to all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. May it be as fragrant as earth herself, reflecting careful efforts, wholehearted awareness, and the fruit of understanding slowly ripening. May we and all beings be companions of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. May we awaken from forgetfulness and realize our true home. And we bow. Good morning and Happy New Year. It's great to see you all here. Couple courtesy announcements before we start. We advise you to walk across the back of the hall, not in the front, for our viewers online. If you need to use a restroom, there's some just behind the two curtains here. There's also another one downstairs. If you're in need of any water, we also have a water fountain downstairs. And we have some water, I believe, at either end of the temple with some little paper cups. There are also cough drops. It's a very dry time of year. Please take advantage of those. When we do our chanting at the beginning, just a reminder to bring that chant to life. It's not meant to be a funeral dirge. It's meant to be uplifting and something that should be engaging. You should be engaging with your mind. So we're going to go ahead and start by silently bowing to one another before we begin our chants. And on page 3, you will find the 3 refuges. I go for refuge to Buddha, my deeply awakened mind, the living source of understanding and compassion, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I go for refuge to Dharma, the path of mindful living, leading to healing, joy, and enlightenment, the way of peace, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I go for refuge to Sangha, the loving and supportive community of practice, realizing harmony, awareness, and liberation, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I am aware that the 3 jewels are within my heart. I vow to realize them. I vow to practice mindful breathing and smiling and looking deeply into things. I vow to understand living beings and their suffering. I vow to cultivate loving kindness and compassion and to practice joy and equanimity. I vow to offer joy to one person in the morning and to help relieve the grief of one person in the afternoon. I vow to live simply and sanely, content with few possessions, and to keep my body healthy. I vow to let go of all worry and anxiety in order to be light and free. I am aware that I owe so much to my parents, teachers, friends, and all beings. I vow to be worthy of their trust, to practice wholeheartedly, so that understanding and compassion will flower, and I can help living beings be free from their suffering. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. And on the next page, we'll find the Heart Sutra. From the deep practice of prajna, paramita, perceive the emptiness of all 5 skandhas
and deliver all beings from their suffering. O Shariputra, form is no other than emptiness, emptiness no other than form. Form is emptiness, emptiness form. The same is true of feeling, thought, impulse, and consciousness. O Shariputra, all dharmas are empty. They are not born nor annihilated. They are not defiled nor immaculate. They do not increase nor decrease. So in emptiness, no form, no feeling, no thought, no impulse, no consciousness. No eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind. No form, sound, smell, taste, touch, or objects of mind. No realm of sight, no realm of consciousness. No ignorance, nor extinction of ignorance. No old age and death, nor extinction of them. No suffering, no cause of suffering. No cease from suffering, no path to lead out of suffering, no knowledge, no attainment, no realization, for there is nothing to attain. The Bodhisattva holds on to nothing but prajna, paramita. Therefore the mind is clear of any delusive hindrance. Without hindrance there is no fear. Away from all delusive views, one reaches final nirvana. All Buddhas of past, present, and future, through faith in prajna, paramita, attain to the highest perfect enlightenment. Know then the prajna, paramita, is the great Dharani, the radiant fearless mantra, the utmost supreme mantra, which is capable of allaying all pain. This is true beyond all doubt. Proclaim now the highest wisdom, the prajna, paramita. Gate, gate, paragate, parasamgate, bodhisvaha. Gate, gate, paragate, parasamgate, bodhisvaha. Gate, gate, paragate, parasamgate, bodhisvaha. Dharma, prajna, paramita, hridaya, sutra.
Before you take your seats, for me, before I teach, it's customary to give 3 prostrations to the dais where our original teacher sits. And so if you have a prostration practice, you are welcome to engage with that. Otherwise, I just ask that you wait until we're done and we can all sit down. Hello again. I don't know. Is the mic on? Check, check, mic check, 1, 2. Okay, I guess maybe it's just not maybe coming through there. Yeah, it's a little different. I'll try to project. So my name is Z, and I'm a teacher here at the temple. And today I'm going to talk about intention. So it's this well-known tradition to begin our new year by setting a resolution. Has anybody done that yet? Yeah? Yes, you can raise your hand. We can see a show of hands of those who have resolutions. Or maybe you're still thinking about one and you're like, yeah, maybe give me till Friday and I'll have one, right? And it could be something like, I'm going to exercise more. I'm going to get healthier. I'm going to eat healthier. And so this resolution is a thought process of setting an intention to improve your life, right? Or your experience, maybe. It's actually also an intention to end suffering in a way, right? So as we step into 2026, I want to start with a question. What turns a mind towards awakening? What causes that? And so let's be real. If New Year's resolutions really worked, wouldn't we all be enlightened by February? Right? So the Buddha taught this path to awakening. And one of the most reassuring things about this path is that it doesn't happen all at once. It's a path. It takes steps to get there, right? But it can begin in a moment. This subtle shift, maybe just 1 degree, towards a willingness to see your world a little differently. It's a conscious decision to plant a different seed, so to speak. And so the Buddha taught that a path to awakening begins with intention, okay? So intention is the doorway through which karma flows. Karma means the movement of the mind and what follows. That is the definition of karma, okay? It's not somebody does something bad to me and so they're going to have, they're going to have something bad happen to them. Not quite like that. But intention plays a very large role in the way that karma operates. Now, when we learn how to meet intention with attention, okay, intention with attention, okay, we start to engage agency in our life, okay? If we know that we have an intention to have a resolution, right? We intend to work out more. We intend to become stronger by the end of 2026. Let's say that's the resolution. The attention has to go to it. Right? You have to put attention on that intention. And this is how the path unfolds. So let's talk about how, oh, hey, it came back on. Let's talk about how the Buddha defined intention. In the Nibbedika Sutta, the Buddha taught, it is intention or cetana that I call karma. Having intended, one acts by body, speech, and mind. When you hear about the 3 doors of expression, that's what we're referring to, through body, through speech, and through mind, which is another reason why you will see Tibetan Buddhists and practitioners bow in that way, is it's a call to those 3 doors of expression as they practice. So the Buddha is saying that karma is intention. It's not the result. The result is something different. Okay. Now, however, the result does become the karma for the next moment. Okay. So they're very much intertwined when we're talking about intention versus the result. Now, honestly, this is good news because some of us have very enlightened intentions and sometimes a kind of messy follow through, right? Yeah. And it's this time of year that we might have this most well-intentioned of doing something good for ourselves, right? It's usually in January when everyone's like, New Year's resolution, right? I'm going to get my Planet Fitness gym membership, right? And you see the billboards everywhere where they're like, come on, work out. 2026 is going to be your year, right? We have these positive intentions, but our practice is the follow-through. Something I think about, especially when I'm trying to eat better, it's like, yeah, I'm totally going to eat really well this week. And I talk about eating right now because I'm on a 5-day fast. So I'm a little hungry. But it's things like I'm going to follow through, and this whole month I'm going to eat really, really well. And then all of a sudden you have a stressful day and you get home and you see that chocolate bar that's been waiting for you for the end of the month. And you're like, no, it's mine, right? Where did the intention go? What happened? What happened to the intention of eating well? Stress happened, life happened, things happened. We say, oh, it's a good enough reason, right? So part of our practice is, how do we train that? How do we work towards acknowledging that when it comes up and still manage to honor our initial intention? And so awakening doesn't begin when we arrive somewhere new. Karmic transformation begins when we set our mind in a direction that it wants to go. In the Gelug lineage, Jetsun Kappa said, intention is the principal aspect of karma. And in Buddhism, intention doesn't arise out of nowhere. It's not spontaneous. It has to come from somewhere. It's dependently arising, as the Buddha taught. And most importantly, intentions arise from previous intentions of the same kind. And so each turn of that mind makes that intention stronger. You've heard about the Roman roads that have the grooves in them, and they were built so well, but you could tell where all the carts were because of the grooves in them, right? That's what intention is like. It's like creating those grooves that you know exactly where they're going. They can guide you to where you want to go, right? But we have to start somewhere, okay? And if the previous movement of mind is, I don't want to feel that way anymore, as in taught, by the four truths, as we call the 4 Arya truths in my tradition, when some of you know them as the 4 noble truths, it's not the truths themselves that are noble. It's the people who practice them that are noble. And that's an important distinction to understand, because everybody can see that there's suffering in life, isn't there? There is. And that's what moves our mind towards our resolutions, towards our intention, towards going, I don't want to feel this way anymore. There must be a way out. And so I want to talk about a story about a person named Angulimala. Has anybody ever heard about Angulimala before? Yeah, good story, right? So Angulimala eventually became a monk in the Buddhist Sangha. But before he had met the Buddha, he was a murderer. He killed lots of people. And the story goes that, so you think about it, before Angulimala even met the Buddha, and even when he did meet him, his intention was to kill. Okay. It was like, that's my next victim. That's my next victim. That's my next victim. And the reason he's called Angulimala, mala meaning necklace, Anguli meaning fingers of, is he would take their fingers of each victim and he would put them on a necklace. Now he had 99 and he needed one more to complete his mala. Okay. And he saw the Buddha coming into the forest. Now the Buddha went in there knowing there was a murderer in the forest where Angulimala lived. And he was like, no, let me go talk to him. Let me just walk casually into, murderous territory. And so Angulimala sees him and he's like, great, this guy's going to be my victim. Notice that he didn't see the Buddha and become immediately enlightened. Notice he didn't see the Buddha and see him for the holy being that he was. He didn't see him as a teacher. He saw him as a victim. His intention was to kill. But as he's running after the Buddha with his knife and he's saying, the Buddha, he can't catch up to him. He's like, what's going on? And the Buddha's just walking. And it's like he's running on a treadmill going nowhere. He can't get there. And he's like, stop, ascetic, stop. And the Buddha turns to him and says, I stopped a long time ago. When are you going to stop? And it was that moment that Angulimala realized that the Buddha was talking about inner stopping the momentum of harm in his mind, stopping the karma of violence. This was the chain of intention that was keeping him stuck in samsara. And the Buddha was saying, when are you going to stop? Right? And so that was a turning point for him. That was when Angulimala realized that his intention could shift. And he did shift it. All of a sudden, he wasn't going to kill the Buddha anymore. What happened? Why didn't he follow through? Right? Isn't that what a resolution is? He stopped because the Buddha taught him more. He showed him what his mind was doing. He showed him what his mind was craving. And we notice as he shifts from killing to confusion to recognition and to surrender. And that is the seed moment right there. That was what was planted. So the Buddha meets seeds exactly where they are. Okay, now that particular historical version was Siddhartha Gautama, but Buddhas, each of us has a Buddha nature. Okay. And it's because we're able to recognize that seed of Buddha nature, it has the ability or potential to sprout. It can bear fruit. Now, let's be clear here. Angulimala did not wake up that morning being like, my intention is going to become a monk. It was not on his vision board, right? He was not like, hey guys, I'm going to plan to kill this guy, but just kidding. I'm really going to go and practice and become enlightened eventually. But see, that's the beautiful thing, is that this is how Buddhas see us. They don't see us as what we have been. They see us as the pure, unlimited potential that we can be. And so this made me wonder, okay, well, where does intention actually come from? What's the beginning of it, right? Where does intention itself arise? And Buddhism gives us 4 answers. Previous intention, the state of the mind in the present moment, the current conditions that we are surrounded by, and the influence of wise beings and good company. Okay? So let's break those down a little bit, right? Where does intention itself arise from? Previous intention. The way we talk about it in conventional reality, meaning the reality that is necessary in order for us to function in this reality, okay? Every moment leaves an imprint on your mind. It is a momentum for the next seed, okay? It's like each time you choose compassion with someone who you might have previously felt difficulties with. Before that, there was a moment of compassion. Before that, there was a moment of compassion. Before that, there was a moment of compassion, right? Our intention acts as permission for the seeds that we want to cultivate in our future. It's the first law of karma. Like produces like, okay? Now, the second reason, the state of the mind in the moment. A frightened mind protects itself. A generous mind intends to benefit beyond itself, okay? Then we have the conditions that we're currently standing in. This moment, this interaction, this suffering, okay? Intention arises because conditions are present. Your intention to drive carefully might arise from a previous moment or the conditions around you. Maybe you see that the roads are covered in snow and ice, right? If your car doesn't have snow mode, you're like, yes, I will be driving very carefully today. Thank you very much. I would like to preserve my life and everybody else around me, right? So there's conditions that shape the way that we respond. And if we become more aware of what those conditions are, we're able to respond more intelligently, more wisely, okay? And lastly, the influence of wise beings and good company, okay? Sometimes intention arises simply because someone sees that potential in us. Intention comes from previous intention, shaped by conditions, colored by the mind, and encouraged by wisdom. The present intention is both the ripening of what came before and the planting of the seed that comes next. And this is karma. It's a continuity without a solid self. This transformation is why enlightenment is possible. Because if things couldn't change, then you would always be exactly how you are right now. And we know that's not true. You were once a baby. You once thought differently about the world. Maybe even at one point you never knew violence. So what prevents us from seeing the seed in the tree or the possibility in the outcome? You might pick up a sunflower seed and you know exactly what a sunflower seed is, right? You've probably eaten many of them. And if you hadn't, well, that's all right. Okay. But you can look at it and you go, I know exactly what this is going to be when it flowers, right? I can see the sunflower on the other side. Why don't we do that for ourselves? What stops us, right? And so Buddha and Tibetan scholars named these obstacles with compassion. We have the kleshas, or what is known as mental afflictions. Okay, these are the things that we've habitually put ourselves in. Okay, it's like, every time my mom would ask me to take out the trash. Oh, really? Okay, it's like I created that intention instead of being like, yes, I get to help my family. I train myself in something differently, right? These are the things that block us from our ability to become enlightened. It's our mental afflictions. Emptiness means that all things are without an inherent self-existence. It means they can change. It means that our response to them can change. There are still functioning ways to respond to the world, but the aim is always to never cause harm. Another of the obstacles is wrong view. Now, wrong view doesn't mean it's bad. It just means that you're mistakenly seeing the world around you. Okay, it's our mistaken understanding of reality. It's literally prejudice. Okay, it's wrong view, even though we might justify it for some way. Oh, that person didn't put their cart back in the parking lot. Just justified something. We've made that a wrong thing, right? We may not understand or see that maybe the person that left that cart there, maybe they were injured. Maybe they couldn't return it. We've totally bypassed an opportunity to engage with compassion, right? And so it's even little things like that. How is that mind constantly being like, oh, I'm better than that. That person's not as good as me, right? Or how is that action not what I would do? Okay. Now, there's also these obstacle called the three lazinesses. Okay. Now, they're known by many names, but traditionally the three lazinesses. And that comes down to our inner reflections. Okay. And that's usually things like, I'm not good enough to do this. I don't have enough skills. Has anybody ever felt like that before? Yeah, I know. I'll do too, right? And then another one is, oh, I'll start when I have more time. Is that a good one? Yeah, we're all familiar with that one. Yeah, that's kind of painful, right? And then there's another one. I'll do everything except the practice. It's like when you wake up in the morning and you had every intention to make it to your cushion and it's 6:30 and your alarm went off and you're like, oh, I could just 15 more minutes. I need that 15 minutes, right? Then I'll be more awake in my practice. And then all of a sudden it's 7:30 and you got to start getting ready for work, right? So pointing to these normal mental functions, it's not meant to make us feel bad. It's meant to allow us to intelligently view them. Okay? It's to understand that these are conditions that can be changed. With patience, they loosen. With intention, they shift. And with compassion, they can release or soften. So resolutions. At the start of the year, we set these intentions. I will practice. I will be kinder. I will stop harming. And maybe even by March, we've forgotten. And so the Buddha doesn't ask, did you do it perfectly? The Buddha didn't say, come back when you have your life together. Because if he did, then none of us would be here. What he asks is, did your mind turn? And so it's an upward spiral. If it's turned once, it can turn again. It's not straight up, right? My teacher describes it this way. Think of it like if it can turn far enough, even just by 1 degree, 1 degree, 1 degree, 1 degree, that seed becomes the tree, okay? And so the question of our practice is not, how can I be perfect? But what helps me turn my mind today? And so it's with intention that we can truly transform our world. I'd like to close by sharing the intention of these incredible monks that are marching across the United States right now. Their action was preceded by a thought. The very seeds that perpetuate goodness within their reality being reflected back in the reality that they are experiencing. If they see that there is a possibility to see ultimate peace in their world, they will do anything to get there. And so this was shared by the monks on Friday. Let there be peace on earth. Let it begin with me. Not with someone else, not someone far away, not when conditions are perfect or when the world finally changes, but here, now, with me. Peace begins the moment we become mindful of our breath, that simple, sacred rhythm that connects us to the present moment. It begins when we bring awareness to our daily actions, to the way that we move through the world, to the choices that we make in each ordinary moment. Let peace begin in the way I speak to myself when I make a mistake, in the breath I take before reacting, in the kindness I choose when patience feels difficult, in the forgiveness I offer when holding on to hurt feels easier. Let it begin in my home, in the gentleness I bring to those closest to me, in my community, in the compassion I extend to neighbors and strangers alike, in my daily life, in every small choice to respond with understanding instead of judgment, with love instead of fear. We often look outward, wishing that the world would become more peaceful. But the truth is simpler and much more challenging. The world becomes peaceful when we do. When each of us takes responsibility for the peace we carry, or fail to carry, in our own hearts. One person practicing mindful breathing creates ripples. One person acting with awareness transforms their corner of the world. A family practicing peace becomes a refuge. A community practicing peace becomes a neighborhood. And slowly, persistently, the peace that begins with me spreads to we, and from we to all. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me, my breath, my thoughts, my words, my actions, my presence in this world. This is not passivity. This is the most active, courageous work that we can do. May you and all beings be well, happy, and at peace. And so may we trust the seed before we see the tree. May we train our eyes to recognize and trust goodness. May we see others the way that the Buddha saw Angulimala, not as what they have been, but what they are capable of becoming. My teacher always encourages us to think of every other living being around us as angels, angels with secret messages. Sometimes those messages are not messages we want to hear. It's not always looking for the good ones. Sometimes it's when that one driver doesn't like the way you're driving and their hand is out the window flipping the bird. That's an angel too. What are you learning from them? May our minds remember how to turn, and may that turning benefit all beings. And so we prepare for meditation. We are going to do about a 10-minute guided meditation. This is the part where you can clear your throat and cough and get comfortable. Or get a cough drop if you need one. Okay. So as the room begins to settle, it's a good opportunity to find the posture that you're going to be meditating in, whether that's in a chair or on a cushion. Legs should be comfortably folded. If there's an empty cushion around you and you'd like to use that as a prop to hold up your leg, you can do that too. We want you to be comfortable. The idea is to park the body so the mind can go deeper inwards. And so as you're settling into posture, those eyes might just start flutter closed, or maybe they're softly gazing downwards. And beginning with our posture that's taught by Vairochana, beginning with your foundation, seat bones into the cushion or into the chair. If you are in a chair, your feet are flat on the ground. We generally like to have our hips a little higher than our knees, if possible. And those hips, that pelvis supports the lengthening of the spine, allowing the crown to rise up towards the ceiling. Shoulders soften towards the earth, allowing those shoulder blades to relax down the back. Arms are soft, hands either palms together in your lap or palms up or down on your knees. Again, the idea here is to find a comfortable posture that you can leave your body in. Soften the jaw, release any clenching. Teeth should be resting or tongue should be resting just gently at the back of the teeth. A gentle softening around the eyes and on the forehead. And lastly, as a symbol of joy, maybe turning up the corners of your lips into a small Mona Lisa smile. And allow yourself to arrive just as you are. Take a few grounding breaths here, bringing that mind to the center. As the body settles, or maybe you need to shift a leg or a toe or an arm, use this last opportunity, clear your throat, do whatever you need to do to allow the body to get really still. When we practice stillness and community, we are planting the intention to let others have a successful meditation without being disturbed. Now gently bring to mind the three jewels. This is the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. These are reminders that minds can understand themselves, to recognize that others have come before us and have sat just like this, that others have carefully studied their mind and discovered something worth passing on. And let's connect with our motivation. Rather than setting an intention, ask yourself, what brought me here today? Curiosity, habit, a wish for something different. Just notice whatever arises. Now bring to mind a recent intention. This doesn't have to be a big life decision, but maybe something small, something ordinary. A thought to speak, maybe a thought to pause before responding, a thought to act or not act, and just hold it lightly. Now quietly ask, where did this intention arise from? Maybe a feeling, a habit, a memory, or another intention that came before it. Now ask, if the conditions had been different, would the intention have arisen in the same way? And let your mind rest with whatever it's seen, whether it's clear or unclear or subtle or incomplete. We're going to gently drop any questioning and allow the mind to settle where it's at, reconnecting with the breath and reconnecting with the present moment. Letting the mind settle is like soil after rain. It's not doing anything, but it is capable of supporting growth. And as we begin to bring this meditation to an end, gently acknowledge whatever was noticed here will continue on its own. There's no need to carry it, there's no need to protect it. Just allow this to be part of the next moment. Awakening doesn't begin when we arrive somewhere new. It begins when the mind turns and notices that it has the capacity to turn. Now gently start to bring some awareness back into your body, into the space. Maybe noticing the scent of the incense or the sound of the cafe next door. Gently engaging some physical movement, wiggling in the fingers and toes, and leaving the eyes the last thing to open. And we bow. So again, my name is Z. I study with the Tibetan Gelug tradition with a group in New York City. My teacher's been teaching for a long time, been practicing for about 30 years. He's been teaching for about 15 of those years. His teacher was the first American geshe, the first American to receive the geshe degree in Tibet. He speaks fluent Tibetan. I think he also speaks Russian and Chinese. I don't know. He speaks a lot of languages. But he translated a lot of the teachings that were lost when China invaded Tibet. Teachings that they're still inputting in computers in Nepal. I think that's where they're stationed. And they have a whole project where they're preserving these teachings. And I mean, it would take lifetimes to input all of the information that they have, which is like commentaries upon commentaries of these ancient texts. And then on top of it, translating them. And so my teacher's teacher teaches people how to translate those documents, which is pretty cool. So I feel very fortunate to be able to bring some of that wisdom in whatever capacity that I can to Grand Rapids. So I'm just grateful that each of you are here and that you decided you had an intention to come to temple this morning and move your mind in a way that hopefully you can take this and test it like the Buddha taught. Test it like gold, right? Chew on it, burn it, try to melt it. See what happens. See what happens when you follow through with some of these teachings. So we've got a couple of announcements. Got a lot going on in January, which is kind of cool. We just started our Bodhisattva class, which is something that happens every year for those who were preceptors or took their precept vows in the fall. They usually continue on or wait until the next Bodhisattva class arises. And then they go on to take what, in my tradition, we call the 10 virtues and 10 non-virtues, which is another set of vows. So that just started yesterday. I heard it went really, really well. And it's really exciting to know that there's people in our community that are deepening their practice. They're going further with their minds. They're engaging in a way that most people don't. And even those of you who are showing up here to an American Buddhist temple, I hate to break it to you, but you're weird. You are. Like, you're doing things that are not ordinary. Most people, check the box like, great, I went to church. Cool. I'm going to go, do all the other things that I'm not supposed to do during the week. And then I'll go and, say my Hail Marys and, eat my cracker and I'll be free of my sins again. Right? Rather than actively changing their minds. Not to say that there aren't good practitioners out there, but from my experience as a Catholic, recovering Catholic, as Ellen would say. So thank you if you're here. I think there's some of our Bodhisattva students here, yeah? If you feel like sharing and raising your hand, just that you're in the class, it's just good for our Sangha to know who's doing these crazy things, who's doing it. Okay. So on Thursday, we have a Dharma discussion group, and that's Thursdays 9:30 to 11 a.m. This group will be reading and discussing Zen and the Art of Saving the Planet by Thich Nhat Hanh. You can contact Venerable Jing Su, Ryan Duffield, or see the newsletter for more information. We are also starting a Heart Sutra study course. I'll be leading this on Fridays in January. It starts this Friday, January 9th, and it'll be going for 4 weeks. So the 9th, 16th, 23rd, and 30th. Registration is open online. It's from 6:45 to 8:15 p.m. We do offer a virtual component to this. So if it's something where you're like, oh, I could make this Friday, but I can't make that Friday, consider joining. What we're going to be looking at is key teachings on and practice insights that are drawn from the Heart Sutra, specifically through the commentary on Sunlight on Suchness by Choni Lama Drakpa Shedrup. It's about 300 years old. And how that plays into our daily lives. And you can talk to me for more information, or you can email me, or you can look at the newsletter. Registration is open online. We have our Buddhist Mutual Aid Sangha, which meets next Sunday, January 11th, from 11:30 to noon 30. And you can talk to Venerable San Shin, Aaron Garcia after temple or whenever you see them next, or you can email them. Or you can see the newsletter. Introduction to Meditation from the Tibetan Perspective. I'll be teaching and leading this on Saturday, January 17th. It's like a 3-hour class from 9 to noon. It's kind of fun if you've never taken it before, or if you have taken it before. We talk about the 9 stages of meditation as taught by Master Kamalashila. And that is basically how you learn how to engage with shamatha meditation. There's also some other resources that we share during that class that are really beneficial for your practice. Grand Rapids Buddhist Temple board meeting will be on Sunday, January 18th, after temple, 11:30 to 1 p.m. And it's downstairs. Sangha members are welcome to observe and see what our board does. Great to kind of see what's happening in our community. Winter Silent Retreat. This is a all-day retreat from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Saturday, January 24th. We do all sorts of practices, Lojong practice. We have a meal practice, sitting meditation, all kinds of things. So if that's something that's up your alley, please join us for that. That will be, you can reach out to Venerable Kunga Nima Jotos, or you can see the newsletter for more information. And the last thing that I'm going to share is our Buddhist-based recovery meetings on Mondays, 6:30 p.m. meditation, 7 p.m. meeting at the temple. Wednesdays, 6:30 p.m. at the Alano Club. Fridays, 10:05 meditation or 10:30 a.m. meeting at the temple, or join via Zoom. For more information, contact Reverend Joyce and Sue, Shane Weimer, or see the newsletter. Now, before we close today, we have our joys and concerns that I'd like to engage with and offer. And I'd like to start. My biggest concern right now is the lives that have been lost in Venezuela after the attack yesterday, and how our government is moving its minds around what they think is best for our country. And yes, I have my disagreements, but I think more is what compassion can I extend to minds that feel that this is necessary? And how can I work my mind around being more compassionate towards others who make decisions because of the way that their minds move? And so just holding space for those people, I think there's over 40 lives that have been lost so far in those attacks. So please keep them in your hearts and in your thoughts.
We have been
But if it's for the people online, I think they can still hear you even if it's not working in here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Anyway, we have also been watching the monks in their walk for peace and have found it extremely inspirational. And I didn't think I was going to get the feeling of hope that I got from the lined streets. And those people are, I'm pretty sure a lot of them, most of them are not Buddhist practitioners, but they're seeing this group of people walk from Texas to Washington, D.C. And it has been inspirational, a lot of tears. But you know that I find it ironic that I would never, I don't think, have known it was happening except for Facebook. I don't see national news covering this, which is annoying. But wow, what an amazing thing. Once in a lifetime. I've heard that phrase over and over on the comments of people who are posting the videos to Facebook, like this is something my son will never see again. This is a once in a lifetime experience. And it's wonderful.
Good morning, Sangha. My name is Tanya. I would like to share a joy. I find that within the magic that is our lives, all the spells that we cast are woven out of pure intention. And I am very grateful today to Z for reminding me what my true intentions for my life really are. Thank you.
Do we have any online? So let's take a moment and hold space for those intentions. And together we bow. I believe there are two announcements that I missed, and I think I'll cover those quickly. So, first one is donations. We do accept donations and encourage you to donate. We are a volunteer-run organization. There's boxes at either end. You can either donate via the QR code on the box, or you can drop a few bucks in there, or you can donate using your time or bringing in supplies. If you have any questions about how you can help or how you can participate at our temple, please don't hesitate to reach out to anybody here. And then secondly, I believe there's a cleaning announcement. Yes?
Thank you. I have a couple of announcements regarding Dharma disciples for this morning. So the cleaning announcement is this: after service this morning, there will be our monthly temple cleaning. And we would ask that as we rise, gather the chant books this morning, that if any of you all would like to volunteer, or together we would sweep these cushions, the zafus and zabutons, from the Dharma hall and place them back into the closet where they go, clearing this space for the cleaning crew to be able to make their monthly cleaning. If anyone would like to stick around directly after service and help with the cleaning crew's monthly cleaning, they're usually here for about an hour with a small handful of people. And if they have a couple of more hands, it would go quickly. So that would be we would be grateful for anyone who stuck around for that. And then last week I made an announcement for can't remember what I made the announcement for now. Well, it was for the social media coordinator and the librarian. Oof, mental block there. Thank you for anyone who reached out. We did have a few people who reached out who left their names, for interest in both of those positions. I think we'll be reviewing them at the next Dharma Council meeting. And so if any of you all are still interested in taking part in helping with the library, the temple librarian role, or helping with social media for the temple, please do come see me, or you can, on the board towards the exit, there's on the cork board, a sheet for Dharma disciples that you can scan with your phone that will give you an email directly to Chungasu and myself, and you could just shoot us an email. So again, temple social media coordinator and librarian, we're going to be filling those roles in the next month or so. So thank you very much.
All right, and to close, we have our closing gathas. If you will stand up and join us in chanting those on page 6. And together we say, for all
unskillful actions ever committed by me since of old, on account of my beginning this greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and thoughts, now I atone for all. Vast is the robe of compassion, a formless field of benefaction. I wear the Buddhist teachings for the benefit of all sentient beings. All beings, one body, I vow to liberate. Endless blind passion, I vow to uproot. Dharma gates without number, I vow to enter. The great way of Buddha, I vow to attain.
For our closing vows, if this side of the room will face this side of the room, this side of the room will face this side of the room. Honoring the unlimited potential within one another, we bow. Thanks, everyone. There is tea and conversation downstairs. Otherwise, if we can help move these cushions into the closet, we appreciate your help. Thanks for being here.